A burglar breaks into a home and holds the husband and wife hostage. At gunpoint, he forces the two to sit on chairs and ties them to the chairs. The burglar slowly and methodically begins stealing from the house. The burglar has taken everything of value and is ready to leave while the homeowners are still bound to their chairs. Suddenly, the man yells at the burglar, "Please untie her, please, let her go." The burglar responds, "No, I'm not untying either of you so that the authorities get notified as late as possible. Don't worry, your neighbors will soon wonder why your lights are still on throughout the night and check in on you long before you succumb to dehydration." The man yet again pleads, "Please, just untie her, I'll do anything." The burglar once again explains his reasoning, "I need to get away with this crime, I'm sorry, I can't leave anything up to chance." The man shuffles his chair towards the burglar, in a state of mania, exclaims, "I'm begging you, man, just let her go, she won't call the cops, I promise." The burglar, still unwilling to budge, did find it quite touching how much his hostage cared about his wife. "Wow," he said, "you must really love your wife to beg me to untie her so desperately." "No," the man replied, in a state of frenzy, "my wife will be home in 15 minutes. Two American biologists are slogging through a jaguar-infested jungle in South America looking for a long-extinct bird called the foo. After weeks of torrential rains, overwhelming insects, and other general unpleasantness, they hear the faint call of a foo bird in the distance. The biologists carefully creep towards the sound, feeling the eyes of predators on them with each step. They reach the area where they heard the sound, and crouch down. Suddenly, a big lump of bird shit lands on one of the biologist's face, and he lurches forward in disgust. Instantly, a jaguar pounces onto the biologist and tears him apart in a matter of moments. What is the moral of this? Wear it. Colonel Sanders was on his deathbed and all his family were sitting around his bed. "You must tell us the secret ingredient so we can continue to sell your fried chicken," said his oldest child. The colonel, barely able to move, beckoned his oldest child to him. "Come," he whispered before suddenly dying. "And they haven't changed the recipes since. Sorry, I made this up while eating fried chicken earlier." Henry woke up with one hell of a hangover. Henry woke up after the annual office Christmas party with a fantastic headache, cotton-mouthed, and completely unable to recall the events of the night before. He made his way downstairs and his wife put some coffee in front of him. "Olivia," he moaned, "tell me what happened last night." "Was it as bad as I think?" "No, it was worse," she said, her voice full of scorn. "You made a complete ass of yourself. You succeeded in antagonizing the entire board of directors and you insulted the company president right to his face." "He's an arsehole," Henry said. "Piss on him." "You did," she replied. "And then he fired you." "Well, fuck him," said Henry. "I did," his wife answered. "You're back at work on Monday." In a Catholic monastery, a group of nuns decides to spice up their dull lives by starting a gardening club. They spend hours tending to their beautiful flowers and plants, finding solace in nature's embrace. However, their pious dedication to the Lord remains unwavering, and they vow to never let anything impure distract them from their holy duties. One day, while working in the garden, Sister Mary spots a stray cucumber lying among the plants. Being the innocent nun she is, she picks it up and says, "Oh, dear Lord, this looks like a sign. We should take it to Mother Superior." Excited by the prospect of a divine revelation, the nuns rush to Mother Superior, cucumber in hand. They present it to her, explaining their discovery and seeking. Mother Superior inspects the vegetable with a contemplative look, then smiles mischievously and says, "My dear sisters, I have indeed seen the light. This cucumber shall be a symbol of purity, and we shall use it to ward off any impure thoughts or desires. Each night, one of you will sleep with the blessed cucumber under your pillow." The nuns are shocked but obediently agree to the unusual request. Night after night, they take turns sleeping with the cucumber close to their heads, reaffirming their commitment to chastity. And as they continue this ritual, a peculiar thing happens. Every morning, the cucumber mysteriously grows in size. Months go by, and the nuns gather in amazement, witnessing the cucumber's miraculous growth. Finally, one day, unable to contain her curiosity any longer, Sister Margaret bursts out, "Mother Superior, forgive my insolence, but what shall we do when the cucumber becomes too large to fit under our..." With a sly grin, Mother Superior replies, "My dear Sister Margaret, at that point, we'll take the fucking cucumber and make a whole goddamn salad." I was hiking with my boyfriend when suddenly a really pissed off brown bear started charging at us from across a field. Maybe her cubs were nearby, I don't know, but I've never seen such a crazed bear in my life. Luckily I had my Derringer handgun with me and pulled it out. My boyfriend says, "What are you gonna do with that?" "That won't harm the bear." I said, "Well, I'm gonna make a run for it." My boyfriend snickered and said, "What are you doing? You can't outrun a bear." I told him, "I don't have to. I only have to outrun you," and shot him in the kneecap. Years ago, a couple in Canada found an abandoned polar bear cub and decided to adopt and raise it themselves. By the time the bear was grown up, it had become very tame, very friendly, and rather jovial. Life with a pet polar bear turned out to be pretty fun, but one problem was that taking it on vacations wasn't really. Transportation was a big part of that, of course, but just as big a problem was that few other climates were suitable for polar bears, plus most places obviously did not allow polar bears to walk around. However, one day the wife had the interesting, albeit unusual, idea of taking the polar bear to Antarctica. It seemed ideal, with a suitable temperature and nobody around to tell them not to bring in their pet. After a hefty dose of crowdfunding, they managed to hire a boat to take them all down to Antarctica. A week later, they had arrived, and were walking through the barren wilderness of the South Pole. The couple is excited to see how the bear will take it. To the chagrin of the wife, though, he just slumped seems to lack a lot of motivation. "Honey," the wife said to her husband, "I think our poor bear is depressed. And I don't know why, this is so opposite of how he usually is." The husband replies, "Well, now he's a bipolar bear." When preparing for the Apollo project, they did some astronaut training on a Navajo Indian reservation. One day, a Navajo elder and his son were herding sheep and came across the space crew. The old man, who only spoke Navajo, asked a question, which the son translated, "What are the guys in the big suits doing?" A member of the crew said they were practicing for their trip to the moon. The old man got really excited and asked if he could send a message to the moon with the astronauts. Recognizing a promotional opportunity for the spin doctors, the NASA folks found a tape recorder. After the old man recorded his message, they asked the son to translate. He refused. So the NASA reps brought the tape to the reservation, where the rest of the tribe listened and laughed, but refused to translate the elder's message to the moon. Finally, NASA called in an official government translator. He reported that the moon message said, "Watch out for these guys, they've come to steal your land." Her doctor complaining that she hurt all over. "Well, can you tell me where you hurt?" the doctor asks. She points to her elbow and says, "Right here, ouch," the doctor replies. "Anywhere else?" She points to her knee and says, "Right here, ouch." The doctor again asks, "Anywhere else?" "Yeah, right here in the back of my neck." "Ooh, chooch," as she points. "Let me ask you something," said the doctor. "You're not really a redhead, are you?" "I'm actually a blonde," she replied. "I thought so," said the doctor. "Your fingers broke."